Meanwhile, here in Stores, Connecticut off to a great start against Syracuse. Winner of this game will go on to face UNC. Also in Fort Worth, Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe with you. What a terrific start from Sarah Strong in this one.
Coach Oriama wants her to be aggressive on the offensive end. So the first possession, she does the pump fake, pull in, then or the pull up, then she's got the give and go, then she comes down looking to drain the three. So efficient and so varied in her skill set on the offensive end of the floor, and Coach Oriama wants her looking for that offense. Can be at times too unselfish.
We asked her earlier today, what do you need from Sarah Strong? And he said, I need her to start playing like Sarah Strong, blank, blank. Words we can't say. And then he said, you know, she gets the ball at the elbow and she's looking to pass. At some point, she needs to be okay with going and getting 30. She's had that kind of mentality out of the gate so far in this one. Cooper into the game for Syracuse. Jasmine Cooper, who was not a factor in that first round win, getting early minutes here. Here's Izoje, guarded by Sarah Williams. Izoje elevates and hits. That's what makes her so tough.
How hard does she have to work, though, to get to her area? Sarah Williams, terrific job denying, but Izoje still able to get to that 17-foot jumper.
Fudd connects! Gino Oriama emphasized several times to us today how important he thought it was for Fudd to hit an early shot from deep. There she does in her final game here at Gamble. Izoje again in that mid-range.
She's just a handful. I don't know exactly how you defend it, because if she can catch the ball 20 feet away and still get to her spots, what do you do with it if you're just going to single cover her?
Knocked away by Izoje. Here comes Filia. Filia lobbing it in. Sarah Williams tips it. The pull-up won't go. And Uche with the rebound for Syracuse. Izoje, the ACC Rookie of the Year. As Arnold comes up with a steal. Here's Arnold with Strong to her right. Strong can't lay it in, doesn't get the whistle. Shade will finish it.
Coach Oriama was telling us this morning the importance of getting out in his transition offense, getting defensive boards or steals. It's where UConn can really excel.
Here's Schmidt separating, can't hit. Made her first 5 attempts from 3 against Iowa State. Coming off the bench in the second quarter to change that game. At a career-high 15 points. Fudd, backdoor, what a delivery from Williams. And Fudd lays it in.
Beautiful cut from AZ Fudd, but okay, Sarah Williams. We're not used to seeing her thread the needle like that.
Strong and Fudd each with 7. An 18-6 UConn lead. Izoje has it popped away. 5th turnover for Syracuse. Arnold weaving, dishing. Strong will take the mid-range and hit. And Syracuse needs another timeout.
AZ Fudd does such a great job moving without the basketball. Curls around. Okay, Sarah Williams with the one-handed bounce pass dive. She was balling a strike on that one. Maybe that was a game we lost and I hadn't played, but what a horrible stat line.
Well, you had 18, didn't you?
18 minutes. I was 2 of 7, Ryan.
Oh, I thought those were the points.
No, well, let's pretend they were.
Yeah.
I love that some of the stats were done by hand.
Yes, I know, and that they kept them. They still have the archives.
Oh, I thought you meant that they just were keeping stats in those
Oh, no,
days.
I mean, I knew in the 90s they were keeping stats, yeah. Lob it in, off the deflection. That is a 6th steal for UConn already. Fudd lobs it in. Blanca Quiñones banks it in. The Ecuadorian freshman, one of the most talented freshmen in the nation. Izoje. Now Syracuse Look, any team would have trouble dealing with Connecticut's pressure, but especially no Dominic Darius, their star point guard, hurt in the ACC tournament, out for the year, here with the team, but no chance of returning this season, and so trying to get it done. Ball handler by committee, as that layup is good for Velez. The LSU transfer. Here's Strong. Giving it up. Getting it back. Kaylee Heckel leaning and dropping it in. The shots that were not falling early for UConn against UTSA are all falling here today.
Yeah, and they're not taking too many threes either, and that was one of the problems against UTSA, struggling to hit from deep but kept relying on the deep ball.
UConn 11 of 15 from the floor in the early going. Here's Burrows kicking, extra feed. Velez missed it badly. Another rebound for Strong. Heckel has a lot of speed. And Quinones gets free to lay it in.
And now that UConn has gone with a smaller lineup, Sarah Strong and Uche Izoje are guarding one another. Great matchup.
And another turnover from Syracuse. That is their 7th already in this first.
Connecticut's so good, sharing the basketball, and here Heckel able to hit the pull-up jumper and then sprays it out to Fudd and to Blanca. It's the one thing with UConn. They try to get paint touches and then spray the ball out and find the open player.
Now Isabel into the game for UConn. Quinones is fouled by Cooper. Stays here. This is a UConn team that has won 51 straight games. They've won those games by an average of almost 40 points per. Only one of those 51 wins was decided by single digits. That was earlier this season against Michigan. Fudd, what a move, leaning and hitting. Azzi Fudd dialed in early on in her final game at Campbell. You see the average margin of victory, 36.5 points during this 51-game winning streak for UConn as Sarah Strong picks up her first foul. Nino Auriemma's team has been to 31 straight Sweet 16s. Have to go back to a young Rebecca Lobo, the last time that Huskies were not in the Sweet 16, right? Was it your
my sophomore year?
Yeah.
Let's bring up all the low lights.
No. We'll show the banner behind us shortly. Don't worry. Izoje missed it left. Heckel skies in for the rebound. Here's Heckel again, blasting up the floor. Heckel meets the bottom of the backboard. Strong able to dig it up. Here's Strong motoring, kicking. Fudd, you bet! Azzi Fudd, who had just 7 points on Saturday, 12 in the first quarter tonight. Strong, another steal, then gets fouled hard by Velez.
Azzi Fudd has certainly found her groove early here in this first quarter, already with 12, but Sarah Strong penetrate in, find the shooter out on the perimeter.
Strong and Fudd will check out. UConn a 31-8 lead. Those two have combined for 21 points on 9 of 13 shooting and 3 of 5 from 3 in this first quarter. Here's Quinones. Blanca surveying, dishing. Cross court, Shade in the corner. Can't hit. Quinones trying to get a hand on it. Shade buries it. Shade with 6 points in the first.
UConn shooting a ridiculous 70%, and it's not all paint points or layups off a transition. These are tough shots they're hitting.
Filia can't stick it. Thompson the rebound. Burrows at the horn. No. And that'll do it for the first. A dominant opening quarter from UConn. A 33-8 lead. Connecticut in control, shooting 71%, forcing 8 turnovers. Fudd and Strong off to terrific starts here in round 2.
Dangerous when they can get out and transition like those possessions.
Well, the forcing of the turnovers the same as Saturday. The shooting much different in the first quarter tonight against Syracuse, closing the quarter on a 19-2 run. 33 points, a season high for a first quarter for undefeated UConn. Quiñones dishes into the corner. Shade a 3, missed it short. Rebound tipped by Williams, gets it back. Sarah Williams then held up by Thompson. Possession arrow belongs to UConn. One of the things that Coach Jack was emphasizing to her team at shoot-around was, this is a great team. Let them be the ones to beat you. It felt like her team was a little tight at times during shoot-around and said, do not choke away this game before you actually get to play it. Let them prove they're as good as they are billed to be. And she said, maybe they will, but let's let them do that.
And in the first 10 minutes, that's what happened.
Yes.
UConn proved they are as good as they're billed to be. And the other thing that Coach Jack was telling her team, and you practiced yesterday again today, 5 minutes at a time. Tell our story 5 minutes at a time. So coming out in the second quarter, you kind of have to wipe away what happened in those first 10 minutes and try to take this next quarter in smaller chunks of time.
Here's Quiñones. Arnold trying to wiggle around Filia, hanging with her nicely. Sarah Williams finds the cutter. Zabel has it deflected out of bounds. Going to stay here. 5 on the shot clock for UConn.
Was that official? It looked like she may have been doing it. Ooh,
Zabel was out, yeah. Should have been Syracuse ball. Shade flips it up short. Again, Sarah Williams doing work on the offensive glass. Shade in the mid-range. Can hit. Gets it back. Kicks it out. Extra feed. Shade hounded by Schmidt and fouled. But some big-time work being done on the offensive glass from Connecticut after they finally do miss a few shots.
What we saw from Sarah Williams and from Shade is even if they couldn't corral the ball themselves, they just tried to keep it alive and get a team rebound out of it.
Gina Auriemma's 72nd birthday today. And he was as angsty as ever at shoot-around today.
He was a little irritable.
He was a little perturbed by things. Not with us, though. He's always wonderful with us. Fudd connects! Daisy Fudd smoking hot to begin her final game at Campbell Pavilion. In the corner, Filia no. Strong gets fouled, pursuing the rebound. Strong, Arnold, Sarah Williams. Zabel and AZ Fudd. The 5 for UConn. You're Strong off the little pass from Arnold laying it in.
Second time we've seen just a give and go from Sarah Strong, and after she inbounded it, just her explosiveness on her cut so that she could get a step on the defender.
Foul here on Arnold. 11 points for Sarah Strong, the favorite to be National Player of the Year.
Just watch the explosiveness. Defender turns her head and Sarah just explodes. You get one step past, there's probably a football analogy there, Ryan, you can help me with when you get past the defensive back, maybe? But
when you get past the defensive back,
you're open.
Beyond the defense, yeah, you're wide open. You're in the clear.
Okay, there we go. She was in the clear.
Potts trying to find an angle. Knocked out of bounds. Last touched. Syracuse, it is UConn ball. Country, some thrilling finishes in the second round. Saw Louisville eke out a win to start the day. Iowa and UVA go to 2 overtimes before Virginia pulled off the win. The upset there is a 10 seed against the 2. Fudd, not that time. Almon the rebound. 38-8. UConn leads it. South Carolina USC up next here on ESPN.
KK Arnold, her defense that time on Schmidt was outstanding. Kept her on that one side of the floor.
Here is Felia. 4 to shoot. Felia dives in. No chance. Fudd off the air ball. Strong, waiting, dishing, Fudd. Not that time. Strong the offensive board. Dishes in traffic. Williams somehow snuck it in. Sarah Williams has been a big factor early in this game.
She has really been playing well this postseason. That was a tough catch, corral, and then finish with 4 Syracuse players around her.
40-8. Huskies lead it. Holly?
Well, Sarah Williams was actually nervous coming into this NCAA tournament. She went into Gino Auriemma's office to talk to him, and he said, "What's going on?" She said, "Coach, I'm really nervous." And he said, "Like, bad nervous?" And she's like, "No, like anxiety nervous. Like, I just don't want to let my team down." Remember, she's coming from Wisconsin, doesn't have a ton of experience in the NCAA tournament. And he said, "I just need you to worry about what can you do for your teammates that will help them succeed. Take the pressure off yourself. Put that focus on your teammates." And I talked to Sarah about it, and she said, "Yeah, I was nervous, but Coach said the right things. I feel really comfortable and confident," and she's getting a big round of applause as she comes out right now. She's been huge.
And Holly, how did she start today? By making some really nice passes to teammates and helping others get going and denying on the defensive end of the floor. It's not always about touches and scoring, but the other things you can do to help your team.
Here is Fudd. Off to Strong.
Sarah Strong's hit the floor a lot today, hasn't she, on the defensive end?
Quinones can't hit. Izoje the rebound. Uche Izoje, who starred in the first round, turns it over here. Quinones weaving through traffic and laying it in. That's a big-time transition take from the freshman, Blanca Quinones. Pressure in the backcourt. Syracuse still has to get it across. Olivia Schmidt did not do it. 10-second violation and a 10th turnover forced by UConn.
And one of the things UConn was working on the last couple of days when they were working on their pressure defense was, let's make the Syracuse big players get out of their comfort zone. Make them handle the ball against the pressure. We've seen it a couple of times, and a couple of times it's resulted in turnovers for Syracuse.
They forced 27 turnovers against UTSA in the first round. They have forced 10 so far here tonight. Fudd has 15, Strong has 11.
Syracuse now in his own defense.
Here's Fudd. Bounces in, Strong. Backs it out, will take. She got it. And now Fudd steals the inbound. Can't lay it in. Arnold tips it. Shade has it. Shade gets denied. Good effort by Burrows. Burrows trapped in the backcourt, and Strong is going to pick up kind of a silly second foul there as Strong reached in. A 23-0 run for UConn, and the lead has ballooned. It's 45-8.
Cylinders.
Come
you
on.
all look like the Huskies right now. Championship form.
Thank you, ladies. Looking forward to hearing from you at the half.
Should we tell them that we actually looked that up yesterday as we were sitting courtside at practices? So. Well, we didn't look it up. Our wonderful producer, Caitlin Urka, looked it up for us.
She did. And the second most all-time, which is not active, is Tennessee with 27 straight. By the way, Janae's birthday a few days ago.
Yes.
Christine's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to both of our wonderful teammates. And Williams travels there.
It's a good, grouping of birthdays.
I know.
You mentioned it's Coach Oriama's
Coaches today, right. A lot of wins, a lot of talent in that trio.
There is, yes. It's like girthy amount of talent.
Really beautifully put. Out of bounds off of Burrows. And another Syracuse turnover. They are having a tough time scoring. In fact, they have not scored yet in this second quarter against Connecticut. Fudd. Here's Quinones. Left alone. Why not?
Really good job navigating against the zone, getting it right to the middle, to the Big East, writing on the floor. It's a soft spot against that zone.
Here's Scott. Has it deflected. Izoje able to haul it in. And another turnover. Quinones rips it away. 13 turnovers for the Orange. Fudd dishes. Quinones connects.
That last steal from Quinones looked like a Sarah Strong kind of a steal. Sarah Strong on the bench now with those 2 fouls. We saw in the first round both KK Arnold, AZ Fudd picking up 3 fouls in the first half. Coach Oriama's not going to let that happen again.
No, he's not. Fudd, you bet! UConn is putting on a show here in Stores. Syracuse has gone over 10 minutes without scoring. It is a 31-0 run. Velez finally ends it there.
And how difficult was that shot by Velez? She had to create a little bit of a fade on her mid-range pull-up. Nothing easy.
Fudd, catch, fire, again! AZ Fudd has 21 in the first half of her final game in Stores. And a foul here against KK Arnold. Hey, for the 6th straight year, every single NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com.
The first half of the first round game, UConn was 3 of 19 from 3. Today, 8 of 14. They looked like a team that could be vulnerable the way they shot the ball in the first round. Not so much tonight.
And Gino Auriemma has told us, look, if we are playing our best, we are going to be very hard to beat. This is, so far in this half, an example of that. As Scott hits the jumper. Fudd, weaving, dishing. Good touch pass from Shade. Back to Fudd. How about the mid-range? Oh, yeah. A little bit of everything from AZ Fudd. The People's Princess tiara is shining here tonight at Gamble. 23 first half points. And another steal for Connecticut. 15 Syracuse turnovers. Williams bounces. Quinones lays it in. 60 first half points for UConn. Burrows, no. Loose on the floor. Who's going to get to it? It's Williams for UConn. Heckel dishes. Fudd, one more. Again! AZ Fudd is unconscious. You got to give it to Fudd, right? Heckle mid-range. That wasn't what the people wanted.
AZ Fudd is on a burner here in this first half. We've seen it in the corner court in transition when she's gotten rid of the ball, gotten it back. Yes, the People's Princess gets a big smile from Coach Oriama on her way to the bench.
And a big ovation from this crowd as Fudd with 26 points. Now, Gino Oriama is saying to her, that's why I told you to cut your nails. He told us this story the other day. AZ had gone to him and said, Coach, my shot just feels a little off. And he said, come here, let me see your nails. And he said, you should trim them a little bit. She said, what do you mean? He said, you're scratching that basketball, and it's making the basketball mad. You should trim it a little bit.
So you just see him now when she came back over to the sideline looking at her fingernails. I want to ask her if she trimmed them.
Manicurists everywhere rushing to stores. Four seconds left in the half. Scott? No. What a half from the defending champs. UConn absolutely blitzes Syracuse 65-12 in this first half. AZ Fudd with 26, her final game in stores, and she is with Holly.
Well, AZ, when you ran out of that tunnel tonight, knowing it's your final time to play on this court, how did you hope it would go, and how are you making it go?
I mean, I was just hoping I was going to be able to have fun, embrace the moment, and enjoy how incredible this crowd is one last time.
It's been incredible, your performance, though. How have you been in such a rhythm?
I mean, that's just how our offense is. My teammates are finding me, setting me great screens. I think our defense is setting up a lot of our offense, so getting out in transition, trying to find open spots, and my teammates are finding me.
Hey, Coach told us the funny story about clipping your nails. Have you cut these nails, and is that why you're hot?
I did. I trimmed them, had a nail file yesterday before practice, and I guess he was right. I had to trim my nails.
All right. The ball likes it.
Thank you.
Well, AZ with 26 points, 6 threes, 4 assists, 4 steals, and some freshly trimmed nails, just like Gino suggested. Shooters everywhere are going to try that technique after that half from AZ and UConn. Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Coach. You're a nail technician, too. Points for AZ Fudd, playing her final game here at Gamble Pavilion. Talked about how much this building means to her, these fans and the energy they bring, what they mean to her. And she delivered a show in that opening half. UConn trying to punch their ticket to the Sweet 16 for a 32nd straight tournament. Olivia Schmidt starting the second half. Can't ring into three. Williams the rebound. The other thing Connecticut did in that first half was force 16 turnovers. Here's Fudd, little pull up, pick it up, right where she left off. Holly?
Well, guys, listening in to Coach Felicia Jack, of course, this is a demoralizing situation right now, but she just tried to breathe some confidence into her players and say, listen, let's not worry about are we scoring. Let's worry about how we're playing. Are you playing hard? Are you playing with passion? Are you there for your teammates? Some of the players were quite emotional when they took the floor to start the second half. I saw a couple of young women in tears. They huddled up, really tight huddle, trying to get everybody back on, get some breath under their wings right now, just like, hey, we got to stick together right now.
I mean, this team can be tough to play no matter who you are. And when they're playing like that, they're almost impossible. And that was as good a half as UConn has played all season. Schmidt, off front rim. Another chance here for Syracuse. Burroughs had a big fourth quarter in the first round to help beat Iowa State. Backdoor Felia can't finish. Thompson another rebound, misses the putback. Izoje gets fouled by Sarah Williams. Good effort here from the orange on the glass, and Uche Izoje will shoot two.
And Ryan, to your point about UConn's dominance, last year they won the tournament games, NCAA tournament games, by about 33 points a game. Final four games by 29 points per game. Sometimes the opponent doesn't matter with when UConn is just firing on all cylinders like we've seen so far in this game.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. For tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com.
But you certainly can't have that where you violate on a free throw.
Yeah.
When points have just been so hard to come by.
Azzi Fudd's career high is 34. He has 28 so far tonight. Strong will fire. Back iron it off. Long rebound. Tilts out of bounds. Into the UConn bench.
Much like in the first round game here in the second half, UConn not extending their pressure into the full court with its big lead. Just picking up in the quarter court now.
Next game up would be against UNC in Fort Worth. Here is Izoje, turning, can't hit. Rebound, lasted Burrows. It'll be UConn basketball. Take a look at the bracket. And yeah, UNC took down Maryland, so UConn would face them next on Friday in Fort Worth. Sarah Strong has it poked away by Burrows. Nice steal. Good flick ahead as well. Journey Thompson will lay it in.
Really good job that time by Syracuse, just with active hands, getting finally a really easy look at the hoop.
Arnold had Fudd in the corner, now finds her. Oh my! Halftime did not slow down Azzi Fudd. 31 points, 3 shy of her career high. Her final game at Gamble.
I think we should fud around and find out how many times you can say "you bet" for one player as she's draining threes. And here you see the active hands, a possession ago for Syracuse, and then Thompson the other way with probably the easiest look of the game so far for the Cuse.
Schmidt buries that one. Olivia Schmidt, who came off the bench and changed the game on Saturday against Iowa State when she had 5 straight threes in the second quarter. Buries her first of the night there. Here's Strong. Shade lets it fly. That one's off. Arnold the rebound. Backs it out. And travels. Gino Auriemma's 72nd birthday. Yeah, he's got a little facial hair here for this
little goatee work.
Yeah, how about that? Delia leaning and hitting.
I like that. Clear out the left side of the floor. We've seen as good of a defender as Azzi Fudd is. Filia can elevate over defenders and hit her mid-range pull-up. We saw that in the first round against Iowa State. No help there to come.
Knocked away. Hey, Burrows been very active defensively so far in this third for Syracuse.
You see the entire right side of the floor, or left side of the floor, I'm sorry, is cleared out, and so Filia can just go to work. Fudd right there with the extended hand, but nice elevation and finish.
Strong whips it in. Shade off to Fudd. 8 to shoot. Shade mid-range, way off. She actually had Fudd open at the top of the key. Here's Filia. Little leaner is good for Layla Filia, who was terrific on Saturday in the win against the Cyclones. Sarah Williams can't finish. Syracuse playing much better so far in this third. They had 12 points the entire first half. They have 9 already in the third quarter. Here's Filia dipping in. Doesn't get the roll. Look out. Sarah Strong fouled on the board. And it's going the other way as UConn gets ready to send in a few subs. Heckel, Zabel, Quinones will check in for UConn. Strong and Fudd, the only starters who remain on the floor for the Huskies. Here is Fudd. Fudd cuts, dishes, good movement here. Extra feed, Zabel can't hit. Quinones the rebound and a jump ball. Possession arrow belongs with Syracuse. UConn a 70-21 lead on the Orange. Midway through the third quarter of this second round game.
Executive Associate Athletic Director from Competitive Excellence for letting us break that news. And yes, construction starts tomorrow right here in Gampel Pavilion.
Wow, Ollie, terrific stuff. Looks like it's going to be beautiful. I hope they keep the Epcot roof because it really is lovely.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think it's gonna look the same, but just be better functioning. It looks phenomenal. I can't wait to see it all. And let's also hope it includes improved Wi-Fi.
That's right. And keep those banners.
Keep the banners.
What else you got, Hal?
They are going to keep this Epcot look, but they're improving these tiles so there's better acoustics. So the people who are on the first row can hear exactly the same as people up in the 50th row. And the outside of the roof is going to get recoated, and only the Superdome in New Orleans is similar coating. So, yes, they are getting new acoustic tiles.
Very nice.
And ask me anything. I have every single detail.
It is going to be incredible, and obviously exactly what this building and basketball here at UConn deserves. Strong saw Heckel cutting, knocked away. Syracuse has outscored UConn here in this third after Connecticut had a 65-12 lead at the half. Syracuse on a little 11-0 run. By the way, we welcome all of you who have watched Kentucky beat West Virginia in what is another thrilling game that's happened today, 74-73, as Kentucky advances to the Sweet 16. Quinones buries the three. Azzi Fudd with 26 first half points. Her final game at Gampel. UConn built that 65-12 lead at the half. Syracuse a better showing so far here in this third. Winner here will face UNC in Fort Worth on Friday. Filia off the mark, Strong the rebound. And then is out of bounds. Again, Burroughs has been pesky all third quarter.
And I just want to, you have to credit Syracuse for the effort that they've been playing with, especially here in the second half. Those first 20 minutes were so tough for them as UConn was shooting lights out. They've come out here in the third quarter and just continued to compete, found some success on the offensive end, but still diving for loose balls, having active hands, continuing to work. It's hard to do when you have that kind of a deficit, but they continue to work.
These two coaches have so much respect for one another as well. Coach Jack and Coach Auriemma. Gino was telling us earlier today that he loves Coach Jack's energy and personality, the way she cares for and pours into her players. And Coach Jack was funny. She said, you know, some people get sick of winning. I don't. And Gino doesn't. I respect that. I respect that he never gets sick of winning. Respects the way he goes about his work. And those two have had a good relationship since he recruited her. Fudd again! Her 8th three of the night, and has tied her career high with 34. UConn's record for points in a tournament game, 40 by Paige Beckers last year, as Filia twists into two there. Up to Fudd. Fudd gives it up. Quinones able to claw it. Quinones lost it out of bounds. It'll be Syracuse basketball. And Fudd with 34 is tied her career high. Here's Quinones on the drive. Can't lay it in, but got fouled. Blanca Quinones will shoot two. Now the question is, will Fudd get the chance to top her career high and also UConn's tournament record, the 40 from Page last year, the record by any Husky in any game. Nikisha Sales with 46 back in 1997. Azzi has tied her career high with 8 made threes. Tied her career high with 34 points. Doing so in her final game in this building. It's a 51-point UConn edge. Blanca Quinones with 18 tonight. The impressive freshman. Here's Delia. Delia creeping down, looking for an angle, got gobbled up by Quinones. Quinones bowls it ahead beautifully to Heckel for the lay.
UConn with an incredible 24 assists, 25 assists now on their 32 made field goals.
They are on pace for the second most assists per game in Division I history. Only Villanova back in 86-87 has averaged more.
Beautiful. It's a rare double bounce pass from Quinones out to Heckel, but it was right on the money nonetheless.
Here's Strong. Strong kicks it out. Quinones, eyes up. Quinones has it deflected. Strong will dump it in. Let's check in with Tali Rowe.
Well, you saw that astounding graphic. 5 players with 98 or more assists on one team. We just haven't seen that in the modern history of basketball. I talked to the players about why that's happening on this team. And Azzi Fudd told me it is because we are so close. The chemistry on this group that has developed throughout the course of the year is absolutely precious and special.
And we have seen it on full display tonight, Hal. Here it is in the arms of Fudd. Has already matched a career high. Fudd loses the handle there. Delia off the steal. Will lay it in for Syracuse. And that will do it for the third. Better showing from the Orange in this third quarter, but a career night for Azzi Fudd, getting it done all night long.
This is what you want your last home game to look like. Azzi Fudd, all smiles.
A career high with 8 made threes, 34 points as we begin the fourth quarter of the second round game. UConn an 82-29 lead on Syracuse. And you would think Fudd will get back in at some point in this fourth, if nothing else, for Gino Auriemma. Yeah, all right, nice dance moves, Azzi.
He'll definitely put her in so that he can give the crowd a chance to cheer for her on, and when he puts her back on the bench.
That's right. Zabel knocks in the three, 13-3 of the night for UConn. And when they shoot like this from three, they are about as impossible to beat as any team you will see. As Scott drops it in. Kira Scott's provided some nice minutes off the bench for Syracuse, and what has been a better showing in the second half for the Orange. And a whistle is going to keep things here.
Just nice cut by Scott, and then she catches, quickly sets the feet, finishes on the mid-range. Yeah, Syracuse has looked nice and strong here in the second half.
And I know it has been a quiet night for Uche Izoje. Just 4 points, 2 of 9 from the floor after her big performance the other night against Iowa State. But this is an incredibly talented freshman. Now she's 21 years old, from Nigeria, played professionally in Japan before coming to Syracuse, and all indications are, even though she is age eligible to go to the WNBA draft, she will be back with Syracuse. And you would think there are going to be people who want to go play with her and join the Orange. What could be a really interesting team next year. Quinones bounces to Strong. Strong gets fouled, although she ended up in better shape on that than Akimbawala did. Sarah Strong will go to the line to shoot too.
What's crazy is if somebody's tuning in to watch UConn, maybe it's their first time this year, and they're like, wait a minute, Azzi Fudd's not the best player in the country?
Right.
Sarah Strong is the best player in the country.
It's a great point. And you know, Blanca Quinones, when she's playing like she is tonight, UConn can almost feel unfair. When they have those three going as good as they are, they are an incredible team.
Something to behold.
Blanca, who's still got a lot of growing to do. You hear the ovation for Sarah Strong as she checks out. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for Sarah Strong, who really set the tone. She came out of the gate so aggressive in the first quarter, something that Gino Auriemma had been imploring her to do, and she did. Scored 7 of the first 9 points for UConn, and the Huskies were off and running. Burrows can't hit the three. Here's Arnold with haste. KK Arnold like a blur.
KK Arnold's first field goal attempt of the game, but she's so important to UConn in terms of leading the way on the defensive end of the floor, pushing pace as we saw in that possession.
Delia doesn't get the roll. Rebound. Bounces around and laid in on the putback by Shy Hawkins. Arnold into the paint, leaves it. El Alfie will lay it in. Can El Alfie, who played a big role last year for UConn in certain matchups, including against UCLA in the Final Four. Scott backs it out. 7:35 to go in the fourth. Quinones, the deflection. Burrows, leaning, can hit. Rebound kept alive by Felia. She will fire off the mark. Burrows been very scrappy in this second half. Could not finish there after the great effort. Winner of this game faces UNC Friday in Fort Worth. The Shade tried to slip it in and threw it out of bounds. Seven minutes to go in this fourth. Hawkins, a little swivel, leaning across her body, couldn't finish it. El Alfie the rebound. Heckel getting ready to check back in for UConn. Shade to the corner. Zabel, back ironing off. Burrows up with it for Syracuse. Delia, 10 points. Had a great career at Michigan before transferring to Texas. Played in just 8 games last year with Texas because of a detached retina. But has had a really strong year for the Orange. Had a huge kick performance in the first round as Izoje lays it in. How?
Well, Felia is a remarkable story. She had that surgery on her detached retina. She had to lay face down for a week, couldn't move, had a patch over her eye for 2 months and wasn't sure if her vision would come back. She said, I really couldn't see anything out of my right eye for 2 months. It was a scary time. Not sure if her basketball career was over, but here she is. She wears the protective goggles, and she has given them some really good minutes here in this third and fourth quarter. Really spirited young woman with a lot of resilience.
Yeah, I think she has a future in the W. You know, she's a big guard at 6 feet tall. She shoots the ball well from the perimeter. She's shown that she can elevate and score over defenders. Solid defensively as well.
Izoje elevates and banks it in. So Uche Izoje with back-to-back buckets. And a timeout taken by Syracuse with 5:18 to go in the fourth. And UConn in control, trying to head to a 32nd straight Sweet 16. Keep seeing her name along with Asia Wilson when you consider what she's done this year at South Carolina as a sophomore. That game up next here on ESPN. Caroline Ducharme, another player playing for the final time here at Gampel, getting some minutes here in this fourth. Heckel shovels, Ducharme can't finish. And out of bounds it goes. And to break we go. Under 5 to go. Oh, this guy, he's been feeling it all night. Blowing away.
Love it.
And got to circle it while it lasts. Felia off the steal. Felia lost it. Now Alfie has it. Now you would think at some point Gino would have to get AZ Fudd in for a moment to give her send-off ovation here in her final game at Gampel. She hasn't played yet in the fourth after scoring 34 points through the first 3 quarters, matching a career high. Also 8 for 11 from 3. Those 8 made threes, matching a career high. Burrows lets it fly, off the mark. Knocked out of bounds, and it will stay here with Syracuse. Coach Jack, her 4th season at Syracuse after looking to become the head coach of this program for a long time. Did a great job at Buffalo. Finally got the chance here. Talked to people around the program. They've just loved what she has done, the way she has changed the culture and the energy. And bringing in a player like Uche Izoje, the future should be bright for the Orange.
She's an incredibly magnetic, dynamic personality, Coach Jack.
Zabel, back ironing off. Who for the rebound? Burrows, a deep 3. That one's off. Trickles out of bounds. You see Coach Jack, largest win improvement in the ACC this season. A 3-time All-Big East guard at Cuse. Back in the 80s. Ayanna Patterson is fouled. And Patterson will go to the line to shoot 2. Holly?
Well, a cute story is that Gino Auriemma was a young assistant at Virginia, and he went up to a high school and recruited Coach Felicia Leggett at that time. He didn't get her in the recruiting portal there, but he did get to watch her play and play against Virginia for a few years after she was the Big East Freshman of the Year. So Coach Auriemma has known her and loved her for a long time. In fact, when she was at Buffalo and applying for the Syracuse job, he called the AD on her behalf. He helped to put a good word in so she could get this job, and a lot of respect between these two, as you mentioned previously.
Good stuff, Hal. Zabel, short. Rebound, Heckel will back it out with 3:10 to go. Patterson off to Ducharme. Ducharme had to get it off, didn't have time for that, as UConn turns it over. Do you think there's a chance that Gino does not get AZ back in this game?
It seems like that's likely now.
Now, if you're on the bench and you know him, very well. Is this something any of the assistants be saying to him? Would any of the players be whispering in his ear about it?
I don't think so. I don't think it's something that AZ probably even cares very much about.
Yeah.
I just remember they did that for Paige Becker's her senior year.
Yeah. Now the crowd is going to stay and serenade AZ at the end of this game regardless.
Yeah.
But how about the way AZ Fudd delivered tonight? Knowing that the headline story in this game was AZ Fudd playing her last game at Gamble. And she comes out, scores 34 points on 13 of 18 shooting, 8 of 11 from 3, matching a career high in threes made and points, and doing it in 3 quarters.
Because, of course, it can go the other way. You can come out so amped up and realizing that this is your last time playing in front of a crowd where you've been somewhere for 5 years and really struggle, and that certainly was not the case.
There's that beautiful jumper again from Izoje. I mean, long twos with hands in her face, and she is unbothered. Gino told us she gets to her spots and she makes her shots. As Heckel hits the leaner plus the foul. And Sarah Strong says, yeah, a little twist. Got it done. At the beginning of the year in Annapolis, the season opener between UConn and Louisville, Gino Auriemma told us the keys to the Husky season was going to be Heckel, KK Arnold. Could they get them organized? Could they hit key shots? They've been able to do that.
And be the point of attack on the defensive end of the floor, and both KK and Heckel excel in that role.
You see their contributions this season. KK second in the nation in assist to turnover ratio, and Heckel so efficient off the bench. Gino Auriemma early on said, I knew she was fast. She's even faster than I thought, talking about Kaylee Heckel early on this season. Hawkins misses the free throw. Rebound El Alfi. 1:35 to go. Heckel speeding ahead, backing it out. Rebecca, any early thoughts on the matchup with UNC?
The biggest thought would be if UConn shoots the ball the way they did today, especially in the first half, I don't know what an opponent is going to do to game plan against them defensively. Now, UNC is a very good defensive team, and this is probably the best offensive team that Courtney Banghart has had in her tenure at North Carolina. But it is certainly going to be a tough task to try to slow down the juggernaut that we saw offensively from Connecticut today.
Patterson misses the free throw there. A reminder, South Carolina and USC will be up next here on ESPN. And then in the nightcap, you have another #1 seed, UCLA, taking on Oklahoma State. Final minute here at Gamble. They want Ducharme to shoot. You hear the crowd's reaction, not realizing that she traveled. They wanted the senior to make that bucket. Scott? Here Scott has had a lot of nice moments in this second half for Syracuse. And UConn can dribble this out. Certainly a night to remember for Azzi Fudd in her final game at Gamble Pavilion. UConn is headed to a 32nd straight Sweet 16. The longest streak in Division I history continues. And Azzi tonight, 34 points, 8 made threes, both matching career highs in her final game in this building. And you see the reaction from the students as the players high-five them one final time this season at Gamble. And Holly Rowe is waiting as Azzi's parents watch. Here's Azzi Fudd with Holly Rowe.
Well, Azzi, what's it like to come out on your final day here on this court and tie your career high for both points and 8 threes? What is that like?
Tonight was really special. I mean, it wasn't about me, it was about this team, and we played really good team basketball tonight. The crowd was incredible, as it is every night, but to have one last night, get to just soak this in, embrace it, enjoy it, was amazing.
You've had such an amazing career here, #1 overall recruit, and then you had some injuries derail your dreams. How did you find the resilience mentally, physically to keep going?
Yeah, the circle around me, my teammates, support staff, coaches, my family, really leaning into my faith, all those things being able to keep me grounded, keep me motivated, and staying humble.
As you walk off this court tonight, what do you hope you've left here for UConn and that you'll be remembered for?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. Wait, I don't know.
Okay, ponder it, and let's check back in at the Sweet 16. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, Azzi.
Thank you.
All right, Azzi, thank you very much. Holly, what a performance from Azzi Fudd tonight. Sarah Strong, terrific as well. And we take a look at that bracket in the Sweet 16. Regional 1 forward, it'll be UConn, UNC Friday. Notre Dame will face the winner of Vanderbilt and Illinois, currently going on ESPN2.
I think we saw from Connecticut today the reason why they were undefeated coming into this postseason. This is a team that can be dominant. They share the basketball. They had 28 assists on the day. And when they're all clicking and humming, there's a team that is almost impossible to defend. And starting with Sarah Strong and Azzi Fudd leading the way, but so many other pieces as well that have contributed to Connecticut's success on both ends of the floor.
Once again, our final score, UConn 98 and Syracuse 45. For our producer, Caitlin Irks, our director, Jimmy Platt, a couple of Hall of Famers, Rebecca Lobo and Holly Rowe. I'm Ryan Rucco saying so long. UConn advancing to the Sweet 16, a 32nd straight time on a special night for Azzi. Let's send it back to our studio crew now.